Hi there, gang. Welcome to OSF TV. It has been a minute. This is weird, right? Because we are, in essence, time traveling.
Right?
Right? Because the last episode came out like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? Because, on schedule. What actually happened was that we kind of recorded we got a little excited, right?
So many people wanted to be on the show.
Right. We had a great year last year. We had 20. This is what, episode 28, right, with Kayla. So we had 27 great shows, and we got them all done by like October.
So like, let's
last
hibernate for the winter.
Right? Take the time off. So this is our first show back. We have a new background.
Yeah, look at this.
I know, fancy, new lighting. I got a new sign. I got my new sign. My wife got us sound effects machines because we always talk about wanting a sound effects machine. So, ladies and gentlemen, sound effects machine.
Drum roll.
That's all I got.
Do I have drum roll on
I know
this?
that and the fart machine.
Are these
sound.
different ones?
Yeah, yours has got different sounds.
Oh, all right.
Like mine's got, hey, I just had an idea. Oh, I had another idea. What is that?
That's a cat.
That's not a good idea.
Oh, I'm over this already.
We can do
better. We can do better.
Nope, I don't know what that one does. Thumbs down.
If I could mute your microphone. Right
Nope, I'm in control. I'm in control of the mics. I have my own audience. Kayla's with us.
Yes, yes. Welcome.
We should have got you one of these. We're sorry.
I know. I feel kind of left out.
Kayla Scofield photography. This is so exciting. We have been trying to get together to talk for since last year because we talked about this a while ago.
Yes.
And finally got everybody's schedules in place. And this is what, like, our third attempt to officially record the show, right? To finally get together.
Yeah.
So we're all finally together. Kayla has the whole weekend to herself. Her family is away, so she gets her time for this weekend. So we are recovering after the Super Bowl yesterday. Which
Lots of wings.
Did you?
Yes.
I had nothing. I'm trying to think.
Wings, meatballs, little smokies, the
charcuterie. You did the. Okay, now this bothers me.
An adult Lunchable is what it is. Just no juice, juice box.
I am not this cosmopolitan, but it seems like suddenly, like in the last year and a half, people talk about charcuterie boards.
Well, when it's provided,
it's meat and cheese.
It is
right. It's fancily rolled up meat, fancily word. Meat and cheese. Charcuterie. Who came up with that? Kayla.
Well, it's pretty, though.
Thank you. All right, so I need help here.
It's pretty food.
Who came up with the term? There's been meat and cheese platters
Gen
for
Z. It's the
forever.
Gen Z,
I just picture it's some guy in a man bun. It's some guy. We should call this a charcuterie board. What charcuterie? I don't know. I made it up.
It sounds fancy.
I know. It sounds fancy. Photographers out of Des Moines will think it's awesome. I've got this. Anyway, we are talking to Kayla Scofield. She is seriously one of the best in the business. She's absolutely amazing. Now, this is kind of neat because you're new. You're kind of one of the newbies in Iowa. Not a newbie photographer, but a newbie in Iowa. You are originally from where?
Seattle.
That was
which
it.
see that she
a little bit north.
North of Seattle. So how did you end up in Iowa?
Yeah, so people okay. I feel like I get that question every single day of my life now.
Hey, I've lived here since 1991, and I still get that question because I'm originally from Minnesota. And they're like, "Oh, how did you end up in Iowa?" I'm like, "I lost a bet." I mean, it's the only answer I ever give anybody. So anyway, got to ask, how'd you end up in Iowa?
Yeah, we love Seattle for many reasons. Like, my husband and I were both born and raised there, but I have two little babies. Well, I guess they're growing up now. They're 3 and 4. But with the crime rate, the cost of living, just Seattle is a little bit different than when I was a kid. And so I just wanted to kind of change our pace, slower pace, cheaper, and just, also a change of scenery. Like, I am not a tree. I do not have roots in one place. I'm very nomadic. And so I was just like, why not? Like, our kids are little. They're not even in school yet. let's do something adventurous. And my husband was totally on board. So we you should see it. We did this fancy Excel sheet with all 50 states and pros and cons of each one. And we, took some trips and we decided on Iowa.
So out of all
here we are.
All 50 states, well, we'll take 49 of them because, you got not the state that she's in.
Right.
So out of 49 states, Iowa won.
Over Hawaii,
Over
California,
Hawaii,
Florida, the nice places.
No, well,
Weather-wise.
Well,
we just hit double digits here last week.
I need to know because I really need to know. 49 other states. And you're like,
yeah, well, that's the thing.
Iowa.
I'm a beach bum, so I love the beach. I love the water.
All the more reason to move here.
Iowa, right, because when you live in Iowa, you have the money to travel. So we've been traveling a lot. It's just it's just an easier way of life. We're not bound to, $3,000 rent payments every month now. And so really, it just kind of came down to the fact that we're able to have more flexibility in what we do with our lives, what we do with our kids. So it's been awesome.
Actually,
and the people here are so nice. Iowa nice is a real thing.
It's a real thing.
It absolutely is. I can joke about it forever, but because you joke about Iowa, just everybody does. But I'll never forget when I first moved here in '91. I'm originally from the Twin Cities, right? Grew up in Burnsville, South Minneapolis, and when I moved to Iowa, all of my age-appropriate friends back in '91 when we were all in our early 20s, everybody that I knew obviously was from here in Iowa. And everybody, well, not almost everybody was like, I can't wait to get the hell out of this state, and everybody moved away, and they moved to Seattle, and they moved to LA or Chicago or Minneapolis. They moved to all these places, right? And fast forward 10 years, early 30s now, and guess who I'm seeing? All these people that moved away, that all these people that went to the big cities, the big markets, they went out to the coasts, New York or LA or Seattle, whatever it was. But they always ended up coming back here. Cost of living, and Iowa nice is really, it is a thing. And the great thing about this state is that, especially kind of where we are in, kind of positioned is you're 3 hours away from Minneapolis. You're 4 hours away from Chicago. You're only 6 hours away from Seattle. You're really not that far.
St. Louis.
Or say St. Louis, not Seattle. Yeah, a little bit farther.
I was
drive to Seattle.
6 hours.
I got a lead foot. But we're not that far from, the big city life, but we don't have to deal with the big city life. And of course, there is Des Moines.
Oh yeah.
If you want the big city life for the 3 minutes it takes you to drive through Des Moines, you got it right there. So, that's cool. So how long have you been in Iowa then?
A year and a half now.
Awesome.
And we love it. I mean, we have had 2 winters and we're still here. I think that should speak volumes.
I've been to Seattle. My brother-in-law was stationed out there a number of years ago, and I'll tell you what, that part of the country is honestly, I think it's the best kept secret in the continental U.S. Because, everybody in our parts of the world, you always hear Seattle, oh, it rains all the time. Oh, it's wet. It's miserable. It rains all the time. Then you go out there and visit and you find out that everybody out there perpetuates that lie to keep the rest of us the hell out of that part of the country because it is beautiful. It is beautiful out there. And you get a little bit of rain, but ooh, I mean, the temperature is beautiful. You got the ocean right there. Canada's close, so you can smell hockey. I mean, it's a nice place. Well, welcome to Iowa. We're so happy to have you here. We're especially happy to have you here because you're part of our stress-free wedding, and we are so excited by that and love your talent about your photography, your art. What you do is absolutely amazing. So let's start about that. Let's talk about how did you get started in photography?
Yeah, so I actually got started after my dad died. I know it's I just brought down the vibe real fast, but I've always loved taking pictures. So I've always kind of, ever since I was little and had, my first little Polaroid, have always loved taking pictures, but it wasn't until I lost my dad that it really propelled me forward to actually, start a business and actually make something. And make this my livelihood. And I very quickly realized upon losing my dad that cardboard box of pictures of him and I, that was my lifeline. That's what got me through. He was my best friend. And so I really felt propelled to kind of give that to other people, to kind of tell people this is much more than just snapping a few pictures and being trendy. It's really leaving your legacy and giving your kids something for when you're gone. So as dark as that sounds, that really is what inspires me and what started it all.
I honestly, I don't think that's dark at all.
No.
I think that's beautiful. It's, no, it is. And, I'm sorry for the loss of your dad, of course, but, it's, I firmly believe that everything in life happens, there's a lesson to be taken from any event in life. And usually the better the lesson, the higher the cost, right? It's the hot stove theory. Like when you're a little kid and your parents tell you, don't touch that, that's hot. You're going to touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to touch it because they're just saying, well,
ooh, it's
how
orange.
hot can it really be? And you touch it and it hurts and ooh, great lesson, right? So, look at the lesson that you learned with the passing of your father is the absolute value, incalculable value of pictures, of capturing moments. And it doesn't matter whether it's just a stupid moment because you snap a picture out of just whatever, or it's a wedding moment, and you've been able to channel that into something even greater by helping people capture what is one of the biggest moments of their lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it really is, you hit the nail on the head with capturing moments, because life is so short. And the older we all get, the more that really is more and more apparent. I look at my kids, I'm like, it's such a cliche that you blink and they're grown, but that really is what happens. And so I really do hammer that home with everyone I talk to, whether it is a wedding or a family session, where I'm like, these moments are so fleeting. They go by so fast. And it's just so important to freeze them, because we're just a blip. In the scale of eternity, we're just a blip. So,
so right. That is, we could do a whole show just on that. Seriously, that is,
I know.
I think about it all the time because, like, I remember growing up, my mom, she was the picture taker of the family, and she's notorious. You look at any of our childhood pictures, and every picture, everybody's off to the left. My mom was the worst photographer. She owns it. I'm not saying anything bad about my mom, but the great thing is that she took and still does so many pictures, and she instilled that in all of us. And nowadays, thanks to technology, we've all got our cameras on us. For just the average idiot. Like I looked on my phone the other day because we just got back from vacation. I have got on my phone alone. It's just under 55,000 pictures. And that's over the span of 21 years. That's from when my youngest son was born. Like all of my older son from Alex before digital cameras. So we got a ton of pictures of him too. But Kobe was, kind of the digital age on. So even with digital cameras, I took him and transferred him. So 60,000 pictures. You live your life by those moments. And when you have someone with your talent behind a camera, I'm like my mom. Everything's a little bit off to the right or off to the left. same skill set.
At least you take them, though.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying is that, how important that is because that's, you are freezing a moment in time. And when we focus in on weddings here, you're freezing that. So how long have you been in the photography business, and how did you kind of dial into the wedding part of it?
Yeah, so in 5 months, it'll be my 10-year anniversary with my business. So excited. That also ages me when I say that. I should probably stop saying that.
Oh,
but it's still
we were going to say something about how old you are. Oh my gosh, it is.
It's respectful
You're like,
to
that
do.
was the next question.
Yeah, right.
No, so I started out by doing mostly families because, like I said, my dad inspired it. So I really was kind of like homing in on families particularly. And then a friend had asked me to do her wedding. And it was more, it was just for a friend. So it wasn't really like contracts involved or anything like that. It was my first wedding. And then I was like, wow, I'm actually kind of good at this. And I really enjoyed it too. Especially the father-daughter dances. Like, I always tell clients, I am sorry that I'll be bawling on the dance floor. I might embarrass you. I'm sorry. But and then it kind of snowballed where like friends of friends of friends were asking me. And I was like, wow, this is I think this is my thing. I think this is what I'm called to do. Because it wasn't just about the wedding photography. It was about being there for the bride to de-stress her. It was about the timeline. It was about, getting everyone hyped up and joyful and really kind of pinpointing the connection that everyone had, not just the bride and groom or the bride and bride or groom and groom, but also with parents and with siblings and stepkids and whatever, being able to kind of pinpoint those connections and have people say afterwards, like, I didn't even know that occurred, but you were there. Like you saw it and you captured it. And I fell in love with it. I've been doing it ever since. So
that is awesome. So from what it sounds like, I mean, you're pretty much self-taught from the go. You just kind of learn from experience. Did you ever take any formal classes on anything, or has it been just, learning and experiencing and growing?
So I do have a degree. So I went to school for communications, but my emphasis was broadcast and visual media. So right out the gates, as soon as I got my bachelor's degree, I went over to Cairo TV. So they're actually a CBS affiliate in Seattle. And so all the photography I did for them was very video based. I did writing, kind of got into that world. Did not like it, did not take me long to realize I was not a media person at all. And so I kind of pivoted and, over the years kind of was like, okay, what am I meant to be? What am I meant to do with this degree? I know I love art, I love visual, I love video photo. And then finally I just kind of found my calling, and it took me a little bit. It took me about 4 years after getting my degree to know exactly what I was meant to do, but here I am. So it worked. It worked out.
I love it. So I went, fun coincidence, same career or same collegiate path. I went to school for communication, same thing. Ended up working at a news station. That's where our paths are going to divert, because I was asked nicely to leave the college that I attended. Apparently you have to go to class and do well.
Yeah,
or at least,
attendance is a thing.
No.
Yeah, is it in the small print?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I remember getting a phone call from my parents who got the letter. I really wish they would have sent the letter to me. It would have been so much less. But I remember the letter asked me to seriously rethink my collegiate direction. They kicked me out. I didn't go to class. I had a lot of fun in college. Classes kind of got in the way of having the fun in college. So,
I mean, I get it. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I figured Jeff Bezos got kicked out of college. Bill Gates, all the billionaires. I'm figuring I'm next.
And LeBron James didn't even go to college.
And I am LeBron and I have a lot in common. He's a basketball player,
He's your inspiration.
He's so not my inspiration. I think he might be the worst human being on the planet. But no. All right, refocus.
You bring up a good point.
Right?
Sorry,
I stopped watching basketball when Michael Jordan retired. I think he was one of the greatest. My son and my wife loved like Kobe, and who's the one that passed away in the helicopter accident?
That was Kobe.
Well, that was Kobe.
Yeah.
And then there's one of the guys who's really good. I don't even know if he still plays. Never mind.
Bill Russell?
Doesn't
Chamberlain?
Sure. No. Wilt Chamberlain was from the 70s, right?
Roger Murdoch?
Yeah, that guy.
Kareem.
Yeah. Yep.
He was the pilot in Airplane.
From the Airplane movies. I was trying to think of somebody from the Harlem Globetrotters, because that's about the extent of my basketball knowledge right there. Curly? Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
So you found out your strength. You got into weddings. So let's talk a little bit about just kind of the nuts and bolts of the wedding process, for you, before we get into kind of the why you do it. Let's talk more kind of the only technical stuff that I really like to get into on these shows is really the interaction with your couples. And you brought up a really cool point when you were talking as you were shooting weddings and kind of realizing that this is where your calling led you, is that you were able to capture these moments, and you had people, your clients or friends or family or whomever it was, looking at pictures that you took and like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that happened. I think that's kind of that cha-ching moment that every photographer almost lives for, because there's so many things happening at your wedding that you as the couple, you don't see. You're in the middle of this chaos of everything, and a great photographer is able to kind of find those moments that's outside of your peripheral vision as the couple, and you obviously honed in on that right off the bat, which is awesome. So let's talk about just interaction with couples. So if I'm looking to hire a photographer for my big day, I'm new at this wedding thing. What would be kind of your sales pitch? Why should I hire you, Kayla?
Yes. So I always do a phone consultation first. I always tell people, I want to hear your voice. I want to see if we're a good fit, because it's not just me. I don't go into consultations trying to sell myself. I want to make sure that I am the right fit for you, because there are so many kinds of photographers out there, so many different styles and different personalities. And I probably won't be the right fit for every single person. So it's me going in genuinely and humbly being like, let's have a conversation. And the first thing I always ask above all else is, what's your vision for this? Like, when you think of your perfect wedding day, you close your eyes and you see it, like, what do you see? And I want to make sure that I line up exactly with that. And then, we go into, you mentioned like the nuts and bolts, right? So I make sure to set the proper expectations of, your wedding day starts right now for me. Like the preparation of shot lists, of timelines, of making sure I know demographics. Like, I want to know that stepmom doesn't want to be in the picture with bio mom. I want to know those
That is
things.
good information. Yeah.
Yes. I want to know the demographics that make you and what makes your story. And just going in with that arsenal and knowing that when I show up with my camera, I'm not just snapping pictures in the corner. I know what makes your family, what makes your love story unique, and that I can capture that specifically for you. I don't do this for a pretty Instagram reel or for pretty Pinterest pictures, although that's always fun at the end. I'm doing it for them and for their legacy and, their heirloom products and everything else. And so I always kind of go in with that intent to be like, hey, I am serving you. I'm making sure that, I'm capturing you guys like at your very best, and how your family is molded and how you guys interact and everything else. And then thirdly, I always say that before I'm a photographer, I'm the bride de-stressor. So whatever I can do to take the stress off. Oh, stress-free wedding.
Ding! See, wait, hold on a second. I've got a cheering.
Yeah.
It's our studio audience.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Woo!
And go ahead and continue.
No, they did not pay me to endorse this, but
Wait, I've got a money symbol. I don't know what that one does.
Sean
never mind.
doesn't pay anybody at all.
Someday when Sean gets paid, then I'll pay everybody. So
You got to pay off that helicopter first.
I so badly want
Carry
to.
on.
Continues. I'm sorry.
where was I? Oh, yeah.
You are there
So
to
just
help make that
making sure
bride's
that-
day stress-free. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Just making sure that they know that my intent is not just to capture beautiful photos, which I do, and I'm very proud of that, but to also make the experience a good one, and to make sure that bride is a happy bride. I can't tell you how many brides I've sat down with, rubbing her back as she cries, freaked out, talking to a groom with cold feet. I have seen it all. And I have, that's important to me that, I'm not just there with my camera, but I'm there to, de-stress and make sure that it's a happy experience. That matters to me above all else.
So do you think, because, someone, how long have you been married?
How long have I been married?
Yeah, how long have you been married? Trust me, I've got a direction to go with
6
this.
years.
Okay, so one of the things that I think kind of helps with everything that you're doing is that you've kind of been there, done that. You've been on both sides of the lens, to put it that way. So when you are there talking to that bride who's feeling completely clenched and on the edge, or that groom that's feeling 1 foot out the door, or whatever that is, do you think being married yourself kind of helps be able to further apply that and kind of further help put their mind at ease with things?
Oh, absolutely. And not just being married, but being a mother has really helped as well. There's lots of like anxious moms of brides or fathers or whatever, and being able to kind of empathetically put myself in shoes, and be able to kind of cater to every single person at a wedding and during a wedding day, to be like, I get it. Like, I feel this with you. I am very deeply an empath. My husband says to a fault sometimes. So just being able to kind of read the room, feel what people need. And, I do have a little bit of a running joke. I have been married 6 years, but I actually eloped. So it's the wedding photographer
You
that never
skipped
had
all the hard part. Look at you.
So I can't necessarily say I've been there, done that, but I do understand relationships.
That's all right. Experience speaks volumes on top of it, so you're good there. So, so during your consultations with your clients, and it sounds like you do just an awesome job of kind of letting them know where you're coming from and that you're in their corner and that you're there for them with that. One of the big questions that I've been getting a ton of, especially this year, with clients with Ultimate Entertainment, like with our DJ service, I get so many questions on how many meetings, how often do you meet? Are we allowed to meet with you? What kind of input do we have? I've been amazed at how limited couples feel like they are. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
The couples kind of feel like they're in this box from the go, and that they only can stay within this box. So, they're almost expecting me to say, well, you get one meeting with me because I'm a very important person, and the rest of the party will be up to me, and I will be in charge of how your day goes. So have you gotten that question? How often do you meet with couples? Are you kind of open door policy? Is it, do you have kind of hard set times for meetings, or how do you work with that?
It's funny you actually mentioned that, because I've had the same kind of thing this year, and I'm not sure why we're seeing that, but just my last few consultations this week, the couples have expressed on the phone, oh my gosh, thank you for taking the time to actually talk to me.
Right?
And a lot of people say and a lot of people have told me I'm getting tons of investment guides thrown my way and welcome guides and emails, but thanks for picking up the phone. And it kind of breaks my heart, because I'm like, well, it seems like such a simple part of my process that's always been there, but apparently people are not feeling like they have the connection they deserve
100%.
when booking.
Oh, 100%. It amazes me. I called, we had someone filled out a contact form with us today at Ultimate Entertainment, and it popped up in my email. Called them back right away. They were shocked. I mean, the first thing that this groom said was, "Wow, I wasn't expecting to hear from you for a few days." I'm like, "Well, you filled out an information request with us. Why wouldn't I call you?"
It's got to go up the chain of command normally, and eventually it'll get to someone who
I don't know. Because not
with us.
But even in general, when we send out a contract with couples, the way that we have always done things is that we have a kind of a 2-week window, and it's a 2-week-ish window. We're not even hard set on those times, but a 2-week window that we will hold their date guaranteed. Especially in dates where we're almost completely booked up. We'll give them those 2 weeks, and we give them those 2 weeks for a number of reasons. The main reason is I want couples to do their homework on other DJs, on our services, on what we do. I'm pretty confident in what we do. We're pretty good at what we do. We've grown into not only what we've done with Ultimate Entertainment, but have grown into what we do with our Stress Free. So it's really kind of evolved onto a much bigger scale. So I'm pretty confident that couples are going to make the right decision, which is choosing us, right? So After 2 weeks, if I don't hear from them, I'll give them a call. Just, hey, I haven't heard from you. Just kind of curious, where do you need more time? Is there something else like that? And I'm amazed by the number of clients that will respond with, well, I'm just waiting to hear back from some other DJs. Love what you have to say, love what you have to offer, but I'm waiting to hear back. And so my question is always, okay, did you talk to them the same time you talked to me? And almost always the answer is, well, yeah, that was DJ day. It was 2 weeks ago when they did that. And I'm like, okay, have those DJs that you're waiting to hear back from, have you talked to them already? Are you waiting on contracts? Are you waiting on paperwork? Are you waiting on information? No, just waiting for them to call me back. After 2 weeks?
Oh.
Right? Like, God, no. And this is somebody's wedding. It's their most important. It's their biggest day. You need to respond to them. And I love talking to, email. Okay, great. It's fine. People live busy lives. I get it. But man, I'll sit and chat with you on the phone for days. I mean, that's to me, it makes so much more sense. And especially in our business, as the photographer, actually photographers and DJs in particular, I think really need to connect with their clients on a much deeper level, because you are the one that has to bring out those emotions that are there, but they're covered with nerves and stress and family and in-laws and all the craziness around it. So it's hard to get that natural smile, right, as a photographer. But when you befriend them, when they know you're in their corner, I think that natural smile comes out much, much better, right?
Totally. Yes. Just being able to connect with people really in a weird way helps you to capture their connection with each other.
Totally.
It's actually a reason I offer a complimentary engagement session as well. Like, a lot of people think, oh, this is so nice. Like, she's giving us photos, complimentary. But actually, 90% of it is for me because I'm able to meet them and interact with them and know their aesthetic and how they interact with each other and everything else and build that trust too, well before their wedding day. So yeah, it really does, like you said, Sean, it really does come down to connecting with your clients on a more personal level. And it's not just about the pricing or how you structure your business, but it's that, interpersonal relationship that you build.
I think the most important thing that we noticed here, that right here at OSF TV, we just found insider business tactics of Kayla Scofield photography and her engagement pictures, which is a genius idea. That is super. That is awesome. You're offering a great service to you're offering a great service to the couple, but it's like you said, it's almost kind of self-serving because it's helping you learn more about them in the process, which is going to make the main pictures, the wedding pictures, even that much better. So no, that's genius. That is a great idea to do. Strongly recommend. So important question for you, Kayla. This is a crucial question, probably the biggest question of the show. Have you watched any other episodes of our program? The answer is yes. Just say yes. Just nod. Just smile.
Yes, but it was a while back.
So
it was when
many
you
of
first
them.
Asked me to come on.
Okay, so obviously, and you're probably on your third or fourth time through, because you learn more every episode. The shine gets a little bit better on my head depending on where the lights are. There's so many awesome things. Well, one of the best thing about the show, I mean, aside from our guests, which is extraordinary, or aside from my incredibly deep insights on the world, is what we like to refer to as the Andrew moment. And this may be your first time experiencing the Andrew moment. So I want you to sit back. I want you to get
firsthand.
Yeah,
yes.
I want you to get comfortable.
Okay.
All right, you comfortable? You good? You good? Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you the Andrew moment in 3, 2, 1.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. We made it over a year. They haven't kicked us off YouTube yet.
Over a year.
Play some sound.
There's got to be a sound. The clapping. I don't know. Oh no, that's laughing. No, it's better than this. Quiet, studio audience. Go ahead. Over a year.
Yeah, over a year. So if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and click the bell for notifications, because we are going to be releasing a lot more of these episodes of OSF TV with more of our awesome wedding professionals that are on board with us.
Yes.
I'm excited.
Wait a minute. Good job.
Thank you.
Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Andrew moment right there. What is... I'm not sure.
I'm going to break that thing.
I think I found my new favorite toy. Thank you. Oh, that's how I should have ended the Andrew moment. Oh, I got to remember that button. Don't forget next time. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Andrew. Oh, yes. Okay. Moving on. We are talking to Kayla Scofield Photography, based out of Des Moines. She has been in the wedding business for 10 years now. Relatively new to the world of Des Moines, but not new to the world of photography. And even though she's relatively new to the world of Iowa, she has been nominated for the People's Choice Award here in the great state of Iowa. Let's talk about that for a second. How does that feel there?
Oh my gosh, I was so incredibly honored, being kind of the new girl on the block. And there are, oh my gosh, instantly when I moved here and started doing research about my industry here, I was so impressed by how many amazing photographers are here. Like, I am surrounded by really talented people. So when I saw I was nominated, I was very honored. I had kind of one of those little juvenile moments where I'm like, what, me? Me?
Did you practice?
So
you practiced the pose, didn't you? You did the me?
No.
What? I would like to
What?
thank everybody who got me here, all the little people. It's so important. Thank you. So when is that announced? Do we know?
I don't have it on.
You know what? I
but-
should have done my research.
We should ask the nominee. You
I
don't
think
know?
No, I feel like it's one more week. I should have looked that up. Goodness gracious. I did not do my homework.
That's all right. So voting is still open as far as we know. Yes?
It is.
All
At
right.
the moment.
So voting is still
Yes,
open.
and
So,
you can vote once a day.
oh, vote often. So it's just like national elections, mostly. Sorry.
Vote off.
That needs a buzzer sound.
Do we need a buzzer?
Absolutely.
We're not allowed to do politics here on the show. No, we stayed away from that. No, that's not the whistle I needed. There it was. There's none of that. So, I was
funny.
looking through your website, and one of the things I want to talk about is just what makes a great photographer. And I think that kind of the first half of the show, we talked a lot about that because I think you have a lot of the qualities of a great photographer. But one of the things that I thought was so cool, you had a line on your website, which is, quote, "Pictures are so much more than what you post on social media or hang on a wall. They are your legacy." And you go into detail about that. And you touched a little bit about that, almost about how you got into photography with the passing of your father. Let's talk about that for a second, because I think, as a photographer, kind of capturing those moments and capturing that legacy, what can you dive deeper into that? What, like when you're shooting a wedding, what are you trying to capture? Is that too broad of a question, or is that answerable?
No, I actually think that's a great question. There are two things that motivate me when at a wedding. The first thing is joy, and the second is connection. Those are my two favorite things, because those two things are really what we want to look back on like a decade from now. We want to see how happy we were. We want to see the laughter of our kids. We want to see us laughing as we smash cake in each other's faces, right? But we also want to see the connection of, grandma and grandpa on the dance floor during the anniversary dance, and the daddy-daughter dance, and the toast of your best friend. The connection, the reason we're here in the first place, and what ties us all together. So when I'm going to a wedding, no matter who it is, or the demographic, or the couple, or anything, there's always those two things that I hunt for. The joy and the connection, and just making sure that those really do come to life, because no matter what kind of family situation or what kind of story they have, there's always those two things in a couple in love that I really, really search for. And it is a legacy. I often think when I'm taking, this is going to sound silly probably, but a lot of times when I'm taking pictures, I remind myself, like, these are the photos their grandchildren will look at. I need to do right by them. To have the proper angles, the proper lighting. I need this to be a beautiful moment that they can have forever. And I take it very, very seriously, to make sure that, the technical aspects are in place so that I can convey the emotional.
Wow, that is perfect. Something that we preach all the time at Ultimate Entertainment, and it's actually a quality that I look for in every vendor at Our Stress Free is a questions you have to ask yourself before every wedding. And you can put any year you want to it. You had mentioned 10 years. So, how do you want to be remembered in 10 years? And we use this as an example at UE. You can say the same sentence two ways with two completely different connotations. You can say, oh my God, I can't believe I had Sean from Ultimate Entertainment at my wedding, right? 10 years afterwards. Or you can say, oh my God, I can't believe we had Sean from Ultimate Entertainment at our wedding 10 years later. Couples will remember that. And looking at pictures and thinking, I imagine as what's running through your mind as you're taking these pictures or as you're kind of looking ahead to what's coming, because it's almost like playing chess, right? You got to think a couple moves ahead. You can't just think, oh, it's father-daughter dance, quick, jump in there and take pictures. You're kind of thinking ahead of where this is going and what you want to do with that. And part of that would be, the anticipation of, hey, these are their forever pictures, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And also, how you were mentioning, in 10 years, them looking back at those pictures, I don't really strive to be remembered.
I don't mean you. No, but you're
sounds.
making it, that they remember the moments, which is what a great photographer does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just making sure that they have the moments that you forget, like naturally throughout life, you'll forget little things. That's just what our brains do. That's what their, hard drive to do is to, keep core memories and toss out the rest. And my goal is for them to have all of it forever.
Awesome. I love that. The other thing you had on your site that really jumped out at me is your 3 points, and you brought up a couple of them. Actually, you brought up all three of them kind of during the course of our conversation so far, but you put them in order, which I thought was really cool, is that you are looking to tell the story of their beginnings, their loves, and their story. And there is 3 distinctions that go with those. Can you break down kind of each one of those 3 individually like that for me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like as we move through life, there's different milestones that you hit. There's the beginnings where you're in that in love stage and, you're planning a wedding and it's just the two of you. And then as you move, throughout your life, you get your first home, maybe have your first baby, and you kind of, hit those milestones. Maybe that baby, goes off to college and you're getting older and now you have grandchildren eventually. And, we all have these beautiful stories. And so I always strive to kind of follow people throughout that story. And I've been so honored to, be able to capture kids like this again ages me, oh my goodness, but be able to capture kids with their families. I've done their senior pictures, they get married and now they're pregnant and giving me a call. So be able to like follow people through their story is so very magical. That's the only word I can think of to describe how that feels.
I love it. Well, you really are old. Well, that's just, it's so sad to see someone just be aged like that, isn't it? It's just, we're so proud that you can stay awake through this entire.
You've applied some filters on this program to make us two look younger.
Right. I appreciate that because I'm only 27. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I'm only 27.
That's not meant to be funny.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're
That's right. You're only 27.
Right? Yeah, sure. All right. So, and again, this is a redundant question, but it's a question that I want to continue with because this entire show so far, and your answers have been awesome, has answered this question over the course of the whole show. Okay. But I want to compact it. What do you feel? And there can be multiple points, but what do you feel sets you apart from other photographers?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I feel like we all have our why. You know what I mean? We all have our why for why we do what we do, no matter what industry we're in. I think that what sets me apart is photography to me is not just my career path. It really is who I am. So if someone was to say, Kayla, who are you? Describe yourself. I would, first say a mom and a wife, but immediately I would say I'm a photographer because it's just who I am. And with that comes the passion and the love for people. I have I have these relationships with my clients that are very special to me, who have become lifelong friends. So really just kind of what propels me through my life and makes me Kayla is my camera and what I do with it. And so I try to convey that to my couples, when I'm talking to them is like, what really sets me apart is my dedication and my passion and my love for what I do. And all of my I'm seeing pictures as I'm talking. But all of my clients are just so beautiful. Everyone's just so gosh darn beautiful. And I just have such an excitement about it, even 10 years later. So
you used one of my favorite terms, which is your why. That's what it's what I look for in this business, because you meet people through life that they either haven't found their why or they lost it. You meet people that they go to their job. And as DJs, Andrew, you've done the same thing. You've met other DJs or photographers or venues, caterers, all of them that they've lost their why. They're doing it because it's Saturday and this is their job. This is what they have to do.
It's a paycheck to them,
right? And I think as soon as you lose that, when it stops being part of who you are, is when it's time for you to stop doing what you're doing, because that why is so important, because it's somebody's biggest day. It's not like you can have a bad day and come back and say, well, let's just do this again on Monday. No, like if we completely screwed up this entire taping, we can do this again on Monday. But, like I said, it's Monday, so we're still safe there. So let's talk a little bit about you had mentioned prior destination weddings. And it sounds like you've had some experience with that. So because I am just to hear with jealousy, and it makes me just physically sick to my stomach about to talk about this, but tell me about your destination weddings, Kayla.
So I've always loved to travel. It's always kind of been in my blood. I'm very nomadic by nature. I've always loved to travel around. And moving 2,000 miles from Washington to Iowa with 2 kids kind of got me brave. And I was like, you know what? I need to start thinking like, life is so short. And if I love to travel and meet new people and see new cultures and ways of life and stuff, like, why not just start marketing to that? Like, if that's what makes me happy. So I began boosting lots of advertising and promoting throughout the country and even internationally, and started gaining some traction. So, whether it's Hawaii or California or, Mexico, I was in Mexico just a few months ago. I'm going again in 2 months. So just being able to kind of travel around and see different kinds of people and ways of life, it definitely keeps me going for sure. I enjoy it. And it's a lot easier than people think to market that way as well.
So this is the sad part of the show where we feel bad for Kayla. She just got back from Mexico, has to go back again in a few
Houston
months.
or McLaughlin.
And right. And on top of that, so you've connected with other professionals of kind of like mind and spirit.
Yeah.
And you've got kind of a special thing coming up end of this year, right? Or it's in this year in just a one of those places where people think of going if they have free time. It's like going to Owine, but it's Rome.
Be like, yeah,
I
suppose
I
we
got
can go
some
there.
free time. What the heck? I'll go to Ankeny or Rome. So talk about.
I've got some time.
talk about why are you going to Rome? What are you doing?
Yeah, so no, you hit on a good subject. There's so many wonderful people here, and I've always believed in community over competition, right? So just making friends with the people in my industry, because we all rise a lot faster if we're lifting each other up. And so a big group of us actually went to Mexico to shoot a wedding. And it was so much fun, and we took advantage of the time to kind of stay there a few extra days too, if you know what I mean.
No,
And as
what?
we were if you know what I mean. So we were sitting there on the beach, just having a good day. And I was like, what would be really cool is if all of us just put something together in a beautiful place that we've always wanted to be, and just got photographers together to celebrate community over competition, to celebrate learning and mentorship and how to do this. Maybe there's photographers in Iowa that they really want to do destination weddings and have no idea where to start. And so we started brainstorming, and we decided cumulatively, wouldn't Italy be cool? So it kind of snowballed. The idea snowballed, and we created a photographer's retreat, if you will, that will be in Rome, Italy in October of this year. And we're marketing it to all photographers, even outside of Iowa, who wants to come for a week of learning and to, network with other photographers who have the same loves and joys that they do, with models and wonderful vendors and travel and everything else. So just kind of a photographer's week. And I'm very excited about it. We're off to a really good start. So it's going to be a fun time.
So she's saying she's looking for models, Andrew.
That's us.
Right?
I was going to ask you after this.
I look fabulous in blue.
Fabulous in orange.
Right?
You do though. You do.
Community over competition.
I love it.
Oh, we're stealing that. I'm going to tell you that right now. We're stealing. We're going to run with that like you would not believe. Like I stole it, which we are. We're stealing that. Do we have permission to use that? Because I want to use that all the time. I love that. I think that
I
is
didn't make
so
it
cool.
up, so go for it.
Cool. All right.
I think I stole it.
Pay it forward. Good. So we are totally stealing that. Community over competition. I love that. So let's talk about. I think this kind of dovetails very well into more of the kind of nuts and bolts again about what you do. So you're with this kind of a collective group of people, and one of the greatest things that I think Andrew and I have really had to experience in doing this show and in working with so many different amazingly talented photographers is finding out just how many really cool different styles there are, and everybody's kind of got their own flavor and everyone's got their own kind of flair. So what do you feel your shooting style is? Can you put a label on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say I'm very true to life. So I like to capture as is. So if you go through my gallery, you'll like different, bridal galleries, you'll notice like in the fall, it might be a little darker, a little moodier, right? A little more contrast. Whereas, in the spring, I'm going to really, highlight and saturate those, beautiful flowering trees or whatever. So I'm very true to life. I want to document someone's day exactly how it happened without heavily manipulating it. So that's more my editing style. When it comes to my shooting style, I like to say I am very intentionally candid. Meaning,
All right.
I have a very lifestyle documentary flair. So a lot of my moments that I capture look incredibly candid. Like I just snuck up behind a couple that was cuddling and kissing and being so cute, when in reality, I sparked that genuine reaction. I said something to pose them in that particular way. And it was very intentional, but it came off as very authentic and in the moment. So I always tell my couples, you will never wonder what to do with your hands. You will never feel awkward. I will always pose you, but in a way that's very natural. So that's my shooting style.
I think that's really good. Don't you?
Mine are on a keyboard, so I know what to do.
I've got so.
Know what to do with your.
I've got my script. You touched on something that I had never thought to ask before, which is kind of cool. Is kind of editing for the season, editing for the environment, editing for what's around you, with the lighting, with the time of year, with stuff like that. So I think that I've not heard that before. I think that's very, very cool. Is that something that is that kind of an industry wide thing? Is that kind of a, hey, Kayla just thought of this kind of thing, or where did you find that?
So it is industry wide. And honestly, a lot of photographers get very preoccupied with it because they get so worried about consistency that sometimes they lose touch with actually capturing it how it is. And that's something I'm not saying that in a disparaging way. I'm
Sure.
saying it almost like I see people worry for no reason, right? Because they might want to market themselves as a light and airy photographer. So they get worried when they're in a darker scene, or it's a little bit moodier or fall time or winter. So for me, instead of saying, oh, this is my consistent edit across the board, I say, no, I'm going to capture it how it is and edit it appropriately to what that scene is conveying.
Awesome.
So, some of the pictures that you showed in the slideshow here of my photos, like you'll notice that some are, very moody, lots of contrast with like splits of light coming in through the windows, others outside when it's snowing and it's really nice and bright with an afternoon sun. And it's important for me. It always has been important for me to just convey exactly how it felt like in that moment and not to manipulate that.
That's very cool. That's awesome. I wish I had the patience to do stuff like that. I really I wish I did. Honestly, I have no artistic abilities. What like my drawing skills stopped in kindergarten. Like with stick people, that's the extent of
Me too. I can't draw. Yeah.
No, says the person taking these beautiful pictures. So that's where all of my artistic abilities stop, is right there. That's it. Other than my sparkling personality, that's all I got. So let's
Absolutely.
and this is kind of obvious, but I want to just make sure people know services that you offer. Obviously engagement pictures. We talked about that. The ceremony, the reception. Let's talk about, and you touched a little bit about it at the beginning of our conversation when you were kind of going over things with couples. But let's talk about like timelines, direction, flexibility, things like that. When it comes to weddings, my favorite word to use is ish, ISH, because you can have a timeline, you can have everything written out, you can have everything exactly in order, and the couple knows it and you know it, and everybody's on the exact same page. Then you get to wedding day and everything shifts, right? You're here, couple's here, or there and there. Everybody's over the map. So, how do you feel about timelines, about kind of overall direction, and then flexibility, the ability to kind of shift if you have to? How does that work for you?
Yeah, it's so funny because 100% of the time I'll have, like, literally every single time, I'll have a bride or a groom or whoever apologize that the timeline is out of whack.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, preparation has gone an hour too long. Oh my goodness, the florist is late. This or that. And it always just makes me giggle because I'm like, listen, you sent me the timeline. I have it as my screensaver on my phone. I'm using it as a guide, but overall, I just take the punches and I just roll with it, because no wedding is going to go according to plan. I think that's kind of the beauty of it too,
Right.
is just kind of, being along for the ride. I do help with timelines. So a lot of times, I'll prompt people and be like, okay, like we should really make it to the ceremony now. It's about that time. So I help with that. But really, when it comes down to it, it's my job to make sure that people are in the moment and intentional about being there in the moment and enjoying themselves and not worrying so much about the structure, because that matters least, honestly.
Absolutely. That's fantastic. So, and again, obvious question, but right, I think especially these days, a lot of people are kind of in the, well, we'll just do it ourselves mode. As cell phones, for example. Like the new iPhone comes out or the new Android comes out. What do they do in all of the ads? None of them talk about the phone, right? That technology hasn't changed.
It's all about.
Everyone is about their cameras. Mm-hmm. Everyone is about the cameras.
We saw it in the Super Bowl ads too. What was it? The Google Pixel.
The new Pixel.
All the bells and whistles that come with that too, and suddenly everyone's, oh, I'm a photographer
right,
now.
I'm a professional. So why? And you ask me, the question answers itself, but I want to hear it from you. Why should someone go with a professional over, hey, look at my new phone?
Yeah, absolutely. So I always tell people, it is not about the equipment you have. It's about how you use it, right? So my husband, he's a chef. you can give us the same exact ingredients, put us in 2 different rooms, and he will make something a hell of a lot tastier than I will.
That's an awesome analogy. Yes.
True. And so, people can, invest and buy the newest camera or the newest lens or whatever, but, they're not going to have the same results. And I try to tell brides that, because I have gotten my aunt just bought a really nice camera.
Mm-hmm.
She's offering to do it for free. And I don't want to disparage that. And if that is the route that you choose to go, I'm not going to say you're wrong. But I have had brides come back to me and be like, "Ooh, that did not go well.
Mm-hmm.
I regret this. And do you think that maybe you can take us out and do a little shoot, in my dress again or whatever?" And those times always make me super sad, just because they had to, learn the hard way. But I always try to tell people it is definitely not about the equipment whatsoever. Like, yeah, it helps to have good equipment,
Right.
but you got to know how
Right.
to work it, and you have to have the artistic eye.
Well, and I think even the artistic side is so much more. I mean, I do have, like, before, like, camera phones got more high tech. I do have a couple of really nice, expensive cameras, for professional grade cameras. But just like what you mentioned with your husband, you and I could take the exact same picture, even with the exact same camera. I guarantee you, mine is going to come a very distant second to whatever it is that you just shot. So that makes a giant difference. I had sent you over kind of our outline of stuff, and I have just kind of a whole bunch of questions as to kind of as we wrap things up. But my gosh, I mean, we've covered so much just in the course of our conversation that I think so many of these questions have answered themselves. I don't want to be redundant on them, but one of the things that I want to touch on one more time, because I loved your first answer, and you talked about it briefly and you just kind of brought it up mid-sentence, but I want you to dial in on it, which is why are you a photographer? Tell me why. Tell everybody why are you doing this?
I do this because I want people to have what I value the most in life. And that is documentation of where I've come from, who I love, who's passed on, my children, the list goes on and on and on, documentation that for a moment we existed, and we existed well. We loved, we laughed, we danced, we were here. And I think that's just a huge thing, to just kind of leave our mark on the world through photographs. And I value that for myself and for my children and for my family. And so I want people to have that too. And I love people enough to want to give them that.
Outstanding.
Beautiful.
Seriously, that is, I love it. So with that as no, I'm going to ask this one just because I'm looking forward to the answer. What's your favorite moment during a wedding? When you're shooting a wedding, what's the one moment when you weddings in general? What's the one moment that gets you?
Oh my gosh, that's so hard to narrow down because there's so many. But I'm gonna go back to what I said. I think at the beginning of this conversation, the father-daughter dance, and the mother-son dance. Now that I'm a mama to 2 boys, that one gets me too.
Yeah.
But just seeing the parental connection, even if it's a step parent or an adoptive parent. I've even seen brides that their parents aren't around anymore, so a brother steps in, and just seeing kind of that person, to say, like, I have loved you, I have grown you, I have been around for everything, and now I'm giving you away in a way. And it's just always so emotional. Like I said, I'm always like behind the camera.
Man, you're
because
this is we could talk for days. I love talking with you. I love where your mind is. I love where your heart is on this. This seriously, this is, and I'm not just saying that just to make you come back on the show. So after this time, we have been talking for just a little bit over an hour, right? It's been an hour and 3 minutes exactly is where we are.
That's what I got.
Good, thanks. We are in time. Thank you. this has been, if you've watched this whole show from start to finish, you would be hard pressed not to be sold on, wow, I want Kayla for my wedding, right? I mean, if you were a bride watching this show, well, you're not allowed to answer. But Andrew, you would agree with me on this, right? I mean, you're watching, you're self-promoting yourself. Just be good. Here's my question. Okay, so we just had an amazing hour of an incredible conversation, learning your heart, learning your passion, learning your drive for what you do, your professionalism, just the care, the love. I mean, just all of the amazing things that you put into your craft. And all of these things sell themselves for somebody looking for a photographer for a wedding. So let's say I am a couple that just watched this show because, Andrew and I have tens and tens and tens of followers.
Hi, Mom.
Right? Hi, Mom. My mom actually emailed me and yelled at me for making that joke about her not watching the show. So Mom watches the show. Hi, Mom. So
That's funny.
I know. Don't make mom jokes. I learned that lesson. I'm sorry. But so I'm a couple that just watched the show. I loved everything that Kayla's had to say. So I call her, right? And I really want to book her. But she's booked up on my date. So what would Kayla,
no.
I know, what would Kayla tell me to look for in another photographer?
Oh, I love that because I always refer. That's a good question, Sean.
Oh, that you have been practicing.
I never ever let someone go without giving them something. So I always make sure, like, whether it's, it's just not the fit they're looking for, it's not the right day, or I'm unavailable for some reason, I always give them referrals of photographers that I really like and trust, and also that are within the same style as me. But I also tell them to be really cognizant of just, the vibe and the personality. Are they offering to be with you through the timeline? Are they offering to, make sure that shot lists are communicated? And that it's just a lot more than the art that you see on their website, but what they're offering to do for you throughout the process. So I always give them, a little bit of advice there.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. This has been awesome. So if you like what you saw on this show, obviously you can reach out and contact Kayla through ourstressfreewedding.com. Go to ourstressfreewedding.com. Go to your wedding professionals. Just go to the search bar and just type in her first name. Just type in Kayla. Pops right up. You can see everything there. We've got some of her beautiful work on there. You can reach out. You can talk to her directly from this whole system. In fact, if you are a registered user at ourstressfreewedding.com, you can reach out to her and talk to her through our messaging system as well. So there's all kinds of ways to reach out and connect. You can see all of our social media through there. You can see her actual website through there. Everything is available to you at ourstressfreewedding.com because we want to bring you the very best in the business. And we just spent an hour with truly one of the very best in the business. Kayla, that has been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Anything else that we missed? Anything you want to throw in there? A compliment on my shirt? Anything important like that?
Blue is your color is the first thing. And the second thing, thank you so much for having me on. Like, when you asked, I was incredibly honored. Like I said, I'm circled about by so many talented people. So I was very honored to be asked. I had a fun time today.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. I think we should circle back one more time just because it was so awesome the first time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time we've ever done this on the show. We are coming back to the Andrew moment.
No, once again, thank you guys for watching. I've never had two moments.
I know.
In a
I
show
threw this
before.
at you out of rehearsal. It's come back to me. Hold on. Come back to me again. Let's come back to me. All right. So we're gonna do this again, ladies and gentlemen. Round two of the Andrew moment.
Hey everyone! Once again, thanks for watching. Again, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. Make sure to click the bell for notifications to get notified for all of our future shows coming up here. Yeah, great show today. Great to have you on today. Again, we could go for hours on this, but
this was great.
About an hour is our limit. Yeah.
so long that people can put up with us. But wait.
Ah, jeez.
There you go. I just wanted to
Thank you for that.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to use the button again. I'm using you for the toy. My wife got me these toys for my birthday. That's how mature I am for stuff like that. This has been great. Thank you again so much for watching. Like Andrew said, we really appreciate it. We really, really do. Help us spread the word. Let everybody know about this. You know, a talent like what Kayla has needs to be shown to even more people than currently know about what she does. And we're just one small vehicle to help along those ways. And we certainly appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, share the show, and tune in next time. We will see you very soon. On behalf of our good friend Kayla, my buddy Andrew, and myself, I'm Sean with OurStressFreeWedding.com, and we will see you soon. Have a stress-free day.